Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for an experience like no other. Tune in every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for The Mary D. Show, where the ordinary meets the extraordinary. The Mary D. Show brings you powerful insights and inspiring stories from a diverse range of guests. Join our incredible host, Mary D. Welch, as she sits down with thought leaders, business owners, and changemakers, sharing their journeys and successes. From career professionals and entrepreneurs to educators and beauty advisors, Mary D. Welch interviews sports figures and health enthusiasts, offering a platform for extraordinary voices. Explore the world of extraordinary people and places in business and finance, homes and real estate, beauty and wellness, education and empowerment, sports and health, and more. Want to be a guest on the show? Call 619-669-8603 or email marydwelch.com. Visit www.marydwelch.com to learn more.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mary D. Show. We are back on another beautiful Monday. I tell you, it's going to be about 100 degrees today. Those of you that don't live in Southern California, or maybe you do live in Southern California, we are experiencing this hot streak. And even though it's not that bad. I've seen it over 100 for longer than I think it's going to be like this for 4 days, between 99 and 100. And then it'll start cooling down and that kind of thing. But you know what? To me, I just look at this is life. We get to live it on this beautiful planet called Earth. And it's all good. That's how I look at it. It's all good. I always say it's all good in the hood. And my kids go, Mom, that is so old. And I say, okay. So just so you know, welcome. I'd like to thank you to if you're watching live, thank you to our live viewers. Hi, live viewers. I'd like to thank you to our replay viewers. Hi, replay viewers. Thank you to everybody that's here for the show. Anytime you come and spend time with us, it really is appreciated. And I'd like to also thank you to our executive producer, Oliver Welch. Hi, babe. Those of you know, Oliver's in the background, and he is always paying attention, watching the show, making comments. He's always glad to see each and every one of you. So it just warms our heart. I know before we get started, I want to say we have our special guest coming on the show. I'm going to read you some of her bio. I'm really excited about her because this lady has been through, ladies and gentlemen. Anytime you go through the things that she's been through. So let me tell you. And I'm going to say, I see our on the show, we have our guests coming in. I will make sure I call their names as we get started. And we have a couple of super fans here for today's show. One is Nanette, who's a super fan, and Richard is a super fan. They have been, when I tell you they've been here for over 3 years. For over 3 years, they've been here, and they have supported and been there for the show. So I definitely wanted to say hi to Nanette and hi to Richard. But we also have Lori that's here today, and we have Joan that's here to go. Hi, Joan. I tell you, ladies, gentlemen, I just cannot tell you how much it means to see you guys. It really does. It means a lot. So welcome. I want to also add, I mentioned this last week, so I just want to reiterate this for this week. If you're not on the email list, you want to be on the email list or the texting list. The email went out, I think it was Friday for today's show. The text went out about 30 minutes ago. You probably want to be on both, but you get the email and text. Starting up pretty soon is Mary D's Insiders. Now, you want to be an insider, you get exclusive offers. Some of you, if you're on the email, you receive the link to Ava DuVernay's the movie that came out about August 28th. That came out. It was short. I think it was a short. It's like 20 minutes. I don't think it was over 30 minutes, but it talked about all these things that happened on August 28th. August 28th was the March on Washington. August 28th was the day that Barack Obama accepted the nomination from the Democratic Party to be president of the United States. August 28th was the day of Katrina. These all happened different times historically, but all on this one day, on August 28th. August 28th, the day Emmett Till was killed. It's so many things. And when I watched it, I'm like, wow, I wasn't even aware, but I was trying to make sure that all of you. And I will put that at the bottom of a couple more emails just so you get a chance to look at it. But it really is phenomenal. And as we know, anything Ava DuVernay does, it's always first class. It's just really excellent. I don't think it's on TV that I know. It could be. I'm not aware if it is, but I can tell you right now, I've been sending the link. And the link went out through the email. It didn't go in the text. It went through the email. So if you like to see it, you send me an email. If you didn't get it already, if you're on the text list and you're not on the email list, then send in the text system, send me your email. Those of you that receive the text, send me an email. So, and if you want to call and leave your information, the number to call is area code 619-669-8603. 619-669-8603. And I want to say hi to Victoria. Hi, Victoria. I saw you come in. I always say to my new best friend, her name is Lori. Hi, Lori. So she's on too. And I see you, Richard. Richard says, hello, Oliver and Mary. So then I'm going to now introduce our guests because I am so excited. I know those of you that saw you got the email and we talk about Laura Franklin, and it says you can never have too much sex. That stands as self-examination, is what that means. But I didn't want to go into all that in the line. Those of you that in the subject line when I sent the email out. So, but now I'm going to read to you her to tell you a little bit about her by her bio. Laura A. Franklin is a women's ministry leader, youth and young adult leader and advocate, a mother of 5 and a grandmother of 4. She is active in her community and her church and serves on several leadership roles. With her newest publication, You Can Never Have Too Much Sex, which is self-examination, and Stop Blaming Others. Stop Blaming Others and Take Responsibility. Her goal is to use her journey as a guide by sharing her early struggles and the lessons learned by using introspective and self-examination to be better and do better. She often says, life is a journey that one does not take alone, but with a village. As a two-time, think about what we're saying here, ladies and gentlemen, a two-time breast cancer survivor, she is also an advocate of early detection for breast cancer screenings by encouraging women to have their mammograms and utilize self-examination annually. Laura also believes people should educate themselves thoroughly about things that can aid in good physical health as well as our mental and psychological health. That includes taking accountability for our actions instead of passing the buck. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to bring to the stage the one and only Laura A. Franklin. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Mary. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you. Just hearing you say that, I was like, who's she talking about? But
I know. When you hear people talk about you, it's kind of hard, huh?
Yes. Yeah,
it
definitely
is. Well, I'm going to tell you, your story is phenomenal. Before we get into your story, though, why don't you tell the audience about who you are? Then we'll go into what you've been through.
Okay. Well, basically, like the bio said, I'm involved in my community. I'm a mother of 5 adult children and 4 grandchildren. I love working in my community. I also love being busy in my church with, like you said, women's ministry, youth and young adult ministry. And any chance I get to mentor young women or seasoned women, I try to take advantage of that. So,
okay, all right. Well, I know too. When you say you're involved in your community, and what type of this? You said leadership roles. You mentioned it says in there. You didn't go into depth about the leadership roles. You said, but you are involved in the community. Is it church or is it outside of a church groups?
Actually, it's both. So as far as my local community outside of my church, I'm for my city, I'm one of the housing commissioners. I'm the chair of the housing commissioner. I'm also sit on the advisory board for the Baldwin Park Unified School District. And then I'm also part of the women's club in the local community as well.
Okay. Wow. Well, it sounds like I apologize for that. Usually I have my phone on silent. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. Well, I'm listening. You said the housing commission. So does that work to help homeless, or is it more than that?
Well, not directly. So we line up under Section 8, right? The Housing Authority for Section 8, or
Okay.
affordable housing. And we often will meet maybe once a quarter to discuss some of the changes that are coming down the pipeline about housing. So
Right.
we're not the first authority in making decisions, but we are part of it.
Okay. All right. Because I know with all the things that we're hearing from Washington, D.C., how does that affect what you're doing?
That I don't deal with that directly. So like I said, we're further down the pipeline than the initial decisions that are coming from DC.
Oh, okay. Because I know right now people are on edge, and this
Mhm.
is like I don't even know what to say. It's so much for
Yeah,
sure.
it's housing is there's such a need for it. Affordable housing, there's such a need for it. I don't think we can build enough.
No, I don't think so either. And I know someone told me I don't know if this is true or not, that the average for a 2-bedroom apartment is over 2,000 a month. And I don't know if that is that the I don't know.
It depends on the area, but that's about right. I mean, there are some one bedrooms, depending on where you're living, you can pay about 18, 19. So,
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
I think about what I was paying. What that was years ago.
Mhm.
I remember though I was right here in Riverside, had a two bedroom apartment, $165. I went to New York to just for a trip, and they were paying then $1,500 for a 1 bedroom.
Wow.
I remember thinking, "You have got to be kidding me!" I was because here I am in California. No, I could. It was unbelievable to me,
Mhm.
but I didn't understand how they could be that high. I just did. It never. My mind could not wrap itself around that. But
Right.
that's the way it was. And then I asked them. I said, "How do you guys afford to live like this?" And I remember the lady told me. She said, "What can we do? This is the way. This is what it is." What do you mean? In other words, what
Yeah.
she was telling me was, "This is how it is. I don't have a choice." That's
Mhm.
really what it came down to. It's not
Yeah.
like she choose to pay a lower rent. And
Right.
I remember telling her what my rent was, and she said, "Then that's just what your rent is." It's like that's all it is. If that's what it is, that's what it is. This is what ours is. And it
Mhm.
wasn't like she thought any different or had anything negative. It's just this is what it is. That's
Yeah.
pretty much it. But I'm gonna get our comments in because we have an audience and they're making comments, and we have Joan. Joan says, "Good afternoon, happy Labor Day." Hi,
Hey,
Joan. Good afternoon, Joan. Nice to see you. Then we have here, I'm going down the line because I know I saw Richard and a couple other people. I call them super fans. And this is Victoria.
Hey,
Hi, Victoria.
Victoria.
Hello, Victoria. Nice to see you. Then who do we have next? After Victoria, we have going on down the line. Nanette. I call Nanette a super fan. Nanette will do the behind the scenes for me. Hi, Nanette. Technically, it's been a cool, hasn't it, Nanette? I was mentioning about the weather. This honestly has been a very nice summer.
Mhm.
It hasn't been scorching hot when you don't even want to go outside. None of that. None of that. So no, it's all good in the hood. Even though my sons keep telling me, "Mom, they tell me that all the time." But anyway, hi, Nanette. And then we have, is this Richard? This is Richard Nichols. Hi, Richard. He said, "Hello, Oliver and Mary. I enjoyed you on set. We play Bid Whist.
Yeah.
That's what we play. You play Bid Whist?"
No.
Oh, I was like, I'm always looking for Bid Whist players. And this is Lori. Hi, Lori. How are you? I tell you. And then Richard, let me see. I'm going out down. Make sure I get all of you. And this Victoria. This is Victoria. She's up. She's clapping. I tell you, I'm Victoria. And then Richard said, "Happy Labor Day." Hi,
Happy
Richard.
Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day to you too, Richard. Tell Wilma we said hi.
Yes, tell her hello.
Yes. And he said, I think you guys go to the same church.
Yes, we do. That's why he put my nickname in there.
Oh, Lord, oh, that's so sweet. That's wonderful. I tell you, I just love Richard and Wilma. I do. They're definitely one of my favorites. So I think I want to make sure I got all. Oh, a new one came in while we're on. Hold it. I didn't see it. I just saw it. It popped in. Okay, I want to make sure I got everybody. Oh, she said, Laura Jean. I think I got them. Okay, you have. Let me say this. Okay, the book is the title of "You Can Never Have Too Much." It's sex, but it's not really sex. Am I correct?
You're correct.
But it makes a good title.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
So tell us, what is the book? Well, how did you come about writing this book?
So about, I think it was March of 2024, where I was talking to one of my girlfriends and just really discussing a lot of what was in the book, and just kind of, I was venting really and just processing. And I said, you know what? Sometimes folks need to just look within themselves and just stop blaming other people for their own faults, and just take responsibility. And I just blurted it out. So yeah, you can never have too much sex. I'm like, self-examination. I'm like, that's the title of the next book. And she was like, okay. So that's how it came about.
I like it, because you know what, you were talking through it, but didn't realize that's what you were doing.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, tell us, because to be a breast cancer survivor is in itself is its own journey. For one, to have gone through it one time, to have gone through it two times. Well, tell us about the first time you found out you had breast cancer.
Well, it was 2001, but actually I started early, like 1999. And at the time I was young, much younger, right? And so my body just wasn't feeling right. You know when you know your body, you know something's just not right. And for a couple of years, I had asked for a mammogram, and because of my age, I think I was 31. So because of my age, they, meaning my doctor would not refer me to get a mammogram, because I could not get a mammogram without a referral. And so it took me.
I'm just saying, I can't believe that. Why would they say no to a mammogram?
Well, I think, traditionally, they usually don't have women start getting a mammogram until they're 40, 45. And because I was 31, they were saying, for number one, because of my age, but also the breast tissue is very dense at that age. And so they would say, like, there wouldn't be a lot that we could see anyways. But nonetheless, I kept asking. And finally, 2 years later, I received the referral. And they found it through the mammogram. Yeah.
Wow. So it wasn't you didn't self-exam and find it.
No, because there was, what I was diagnosed with is called DCIS, which stands for ductal carcinoma in situ, which means it's in the milk ducts. So you wouldn't have a nodule or anything that you would find. Majority of DCIS is found through a mammogram.
Wow. Did they say what stage you were at that time?
Yes, it was stage 0, actually. And it was funny because I wrote another book about this, but when the doctor diagnosed me with stage 0, I said, well, do I have it or I don't have it? It's like being pre-pregnant. Either I'm pregnant or I'm not. So I needed to know, did I have breast cancer or not? And so I do, but there's just the stage 0. You start off at stage 0 and then increase from there. So yes.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot to at 30, to 31?
Yes. Well, when I started at 31, but when I was diagnosed, I was 33.
Wow. I'm in the show right now. So anyway, I'm looking at, thinking about at your age with that. And you had how many children then?
5. They were all born then. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just thinking of what must that have been like when they told you. What did they gave you an option of, we can do this or we can do that?
Well, yeah, there was lots of conversation about my options, but then, of course, technology has evolved big time now. But then, you have the conversations with the doctor, the surgeon, and then there's a care coordinator. Just so many people. All this stuff is going on at once, but they hit me with the hard information initially, like your life expectancy.
Oh,
Um, yeah, options like just go ahead and do a double mastectomy. You
oh,
don't need to, they went through all of that first versus the other option. And so, of course, hearing all of that information, and my baby girl is sitting on my lap while they're giving me all this information, I was just bawling, and I was bawling to the point where I couldn't hear anything anymore. Like it was
oh,
just this high pitched noise in my head or something because I was just so emotional. But when I kind of came back to the conversation, um, I thanked the doctor, gathered up my kids. At the time, I was married, so we'd all left, and I'd been sent home with a bag of books, pamphlets, all the other resources that people I could call for different things. And I just got in the car and I said, well, let's just get ready. I got stuff to do. I mean, that was really my attitude towards it because, like I said, initially when you hear the diagnosis, the first thing we think about is death, right? And
yeah.
then I thought about the fact that I have 5 babies. Like I'm not going to see them grow up. I'm not going to see my daughter get married. All of that comes into play.
Oh,
But
yeah.
my mom was still alive at the time, and when I told her, she said, all sickness is not unto death.
Come
And
on.
so that also made me feel better because she was a praying woman as well. So, like I said, we headed home, did a lot of praying, prepping, because, like I said, I have 5 kids, so I had to get them ready for me not to be available, for quite some time. And, but yeah, it was scary. It was scary, but I mean, I'm a woman of faith, so I believed what God was going to do. But at the time, like I said, I was looking at my circumstances as far as my kids, and then my age, and I did the whole why me. I went through that as well. But the Holy Spirit just said, "Why not you?" So after I got that, I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." So
Because I think that's a normal response of the why me. But
exactly.
I remember when I've been through that, the why me, because I've been through a home burning down, some of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking the why me. And like you said, God's like, why not you? What makes you think it can't happen to you? You think it can happen to the person.
Right. Because you think of I mean, not to put it on anyone else, but you do think of other people, especially people who are not kind and
Yes.
who don't care about others. Like why not them? But God had a purpose in it, and of course I know that now. But at the time, I didn't know. But again, once He said, "Why not you?" I just said, "Okay, let's do what we got to do." And they wanted to actually do the surgery probably in the next 2 weeks, but I had to push it back because I told them I have a full family at home. And I need to make calls. I need to prepare also for my daughter. I think she was 4 at the time. And I needed someone to comb her hair, like things like that. And so I needed to go shopping, stock the house with everything. So, but yeah.
Wow. I can't imagine when they're telling you this. Like you said, well, I think you said all of a sudden it's noise. I really think the shock of it, you couldn't hear them anymore.
Right,
The
exactly.
so great. You're like, what you understood, my life is about to change.
Right.
And it's changing. I had no control over this. I had nothing to say. I had nothing to do with this. And this change, it's going to change, because they're talking about now, I'm sure, surgery in some form or fashion.
Yeah, they were talking about surgery, but like I said, the care coordinator was, like I said, they gave me the life expectancy, 5 years, maybe 10. And then they told me my options. You had lumpectomy, mastectomy, double mastectomy. I mean, they were just breaking down all these facts. I mean, these things and these terms I was not prepared for. Like I said, my daughter was sitting right there on my lap. So with all that information coming at me at once, like taking it through the fire hose, that's basically what it was.
Wow.
And it was a little overwhelming. Quite overwhelming. Not little. It was quite overwhelming.
Well, I thank God your mom, she understood that just because somebody says things like that does not have to be the end of anything.
Right.
And that's a blessing to have a mom like that. That
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, her faith was basically what she's saying. Her faith is in God.
Yeah.
No matter
Exactly.
what they say, and that is the truth. Well, what happened next after the initial shock and getting past it?
Well, again, prepping the family, went to my pastor, things like that. And then I opted for the lumpectomy. And so we did that. That whole journey was, well, it's funny now. It wasn't funny then, but I had to approach it with sense of humor. But yeah, I did all the prep that comes with that. They did they put a locator chip inside the breast to make sure that they got the right tissue and in the right area. So I guess one of the funniest moments as we prepared for surgery when I went in, um, they remembered where the locator was. And so what they did is, I hope I'm not grossing anybody out, but they stuck a needle in the same area and just left it there. And so then they took a red Solo cup and put it on top so that I wouldn't hit it, right? Because you start moving and they're doing things with IVs and whatnot. And so my pastor at the time came in to see me and to pray with me before we went in. And I said, "Look, Pastor, I finally got a D cup."
But you know what you really said? You have to do these
Yeah,
things because it's so serious. You got to find some humor in it. You really do.
I had to. And he didn't laugh. He didn't laugh at all because number one, he didn't like hospitals. And so he just came on in and he just said, "Let us pray." And we prayed with the anesthesiologist, with everybody. Like all of us y'all had to hold hands. We were going to pray. We were not taking me down that hallway until we prayed. And they did, another thing I did while I was headed to the surgery room, I was waving to everybody, just saying, "Hey, what are you in for? Like, what are you getting done today?" Just kind of keeping it light, because I'm guessing they were worse off than I was, but that's the way I felt. So I just didn't want to, I didn't want to be so ho-hum about it. I mean, it was already scary. So I just had to approach it in that way. I was being silly, but it was seriously silly.
Oh, I just, I'm just amazed. I'm just amazed. Just listen to you. My mother actually, she died from breast cancer. So that's why your story is so, it just touches my heart. She was a lot older, but still they tried to encourage her to have the surgery. She wouldn't do it. All those things, she just would not do it. I was just like, "Mom, they're telling you can live for 10 more years."
Mm-hmm.
But she said, "But they're not telling you is what kind of years it will be."
Yeah, it's what to be the quality of life.
That's what she said. And she said, "I'm good. I've been married. I've had my kids. I've done everything. I've got grandkids. And she said, I think now that I look back, she was tired.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at the time, but I was doing everything I could to keep her here type thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, let me go on. So they say, I'm just so happy for you. That's what it is. I'm so excited and happy for you. But that was the first time you experienced that. But then how long was it between the first time you experienced it and the second time you experienced it?
I was actually approaching my 5th year. So you're not, medically speaking, you're not in remission till you hit your 5th year.
Right.
I mean, but true, you celebrate when you're done with treatment and everything, right? Or some places where you ring the bell or whatever the case. And I was headed to my 5th year and my final mammogram. And then they found it again. So this time, this time was a little more traumatic than the first time because of all that was going to go into what they were going to do. And so, because you can't radiate. I did radiation the first time. I didn't mention that. So at the first diagnosis I did, it's either 33 or 36 radiation treatments. And so if it comes back in the same breast, you can't radiate the same breast. So now I have a decision. Do I remove it or do I remove it and rebuild? And so, or just leave it, right? You could just leave it because, like I said, it was in the milk ducts. But because it came back in a different location, same breast, but a different location, after a lot of prayer and a lot of just, again, looking within and like, you know, as women, we feel this is what makes us women, right? Our breasts are what makes us women, as far as your first focal point. And so I was very reluctant to make any decisions right away. And again, my babies were a little older; they were 5 years older now. And
Mm-hmm.
so I what I did not want to do is I didn't want them to keep scooping out of me every 3 4 years or whatever. I didn't want to keep going through that. I didn't want to be a guinea pig, you know. And so I opted for the mastectomy, and well, with reconstruction. And so and yeah, just all of that that comes with, again, a second diagnosis,
Right.
more trauma, not only to the physical body, but just, you know, the mental health part.
Yeah.
Now you're thinking, oh dang, it's back, and this time, you know, this is a whole different ball game. And now my babies are old enough to really know. And so I did tell my older two boys, but the what we call the three little pigs, the younger three ones, the three younger ones, excuse me, we
Mhm.
didn't tell them. We just said, you know, mommy's got an owie. That's kind of how we kept it. But
Oh,
the older two boys, they were old enough to know. And this is when we kind of all rallied together. And this time, my village showed up the first time, but they rallied in the hundreds the second time. So,
wow.
but yeah, yeah.
Oh, I can believe it. I think because as your life is touching so many lives. Plus, they've been experiencing this with you. This
Hmm.
is not something that you do alone. This is something, like you said, the village. As soon as when I sent the email out and I started getting calls back of, she goes to our church, I know her, all those things. I thought about it. I said, so in other words, I may not know you personally, but they know you, and all of that matters. So we're all touching so many different lives,
Hmm.
and they're
Yes.
saying, you know, we're praying with you.
Yes.
We're going through this with you. That I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
Yeah, because I mean, the second diagnosis, it was scary the first time, but this time I was afraid. I mean, I was just the bottom line afraid. And my mother had passed since the first diagnosis.
Wow.
So, you know, she was actually going through her own cancer journey same time I was.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, we didn't really know. She was very private. So we didn't really know what she was going through, but she talked me through mine, you know, as best she could. So when I was diagnosed in 2001, she passed in 2002. And so now
Wow.
to get the second diagnosis and my mom is not there, you know, that was rough. But my big sister Liz, you know, she came to help take care of me. Shout out to Liz. I think she's on here somewhere. She was calling me, but I couldn't pick up. Um, but yeah, she came, and like I said, my family rallied around me, my church family, neighbors. I didn't want for anything. My godchildren, I mean, some of my godchildren just sat with me, and that's all they wanted, you know, which that helped me too because I'm a talker, so I love being with people. So it
Yeah.
was nice to have the visitors when I could have visitors at home.
Wow. Well, we have Nanette. She was sending, I think it's uh, I like that. I think that
Look,
is,
I was just being honest. I'm telling you.
I love that because I just know you have to find some humor in it
Mhm.
because it is so scary and it kind of brings that temperature down when you can laugh
Yeah.
about things. And I think, and the only reason he couldn't laugh, he's so busy. He's praying for you and believing God's going to heal you. It's not that
Mhm.
he didn't want. He got the humor. I'm sure. I'm
Yeah. Oh,
sure.
yeah. He did. He just shook his head, and that's why I said he just said, "Let's pray," because I'm gonna be who I am. That's all I can't be nobody else.
Yes,
So
I tell you. Well, I know your book. Can you hold the book up so our audience can see this book, ladies and
mhm.
gentlemen? Can you guys see that? Because,
Yeah.
and she was saying it's easier to write the title. You can never have too much sex, but it's really self-examination on Amazon because there's so many. You can put in Laura A. Franklin. Is there any other Laura A. Franklin on Amazon?
There's quite a few.
Oh, is it okay? What about Barnes and Noble? Same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need to put the book title, she was saying, instead of the name, because we don't want you, if you want to get a copy of the book, which I know is fantabulous. I know it's one of the, I'm just, like I said, I have so much respect for you and admiration for you, because it's just the strength it had to take to go through that. And having 5 children, I think that has to have a lot to do with you too, with focusing your energy. You definitely had a reason to
Yeah.
to go on, and they're all adults now.
Yes. Yes.
Even the 4-year-old is an adult.
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
god!
They're all grown and gone. Yeah.
I just that is, and then these are 4 grandchildren.
Oh, did I lose you?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I
Oh,
see you.
okay. I said you have 4 grandchildren.
Yes. 1 boy and 3 girls.
Wow, wow. I just thank God for you. I do, because I can't even imagine. I know with my mom, like I said, we tried to convince her. She would not. It was just a different place in life.
Yeah.
But I just have so much admiration. Um, well, how do you feel like your journey has affected other people?
Well, not just the journey with breast cancer, but just like with this book, you know, the older the older I get, the more I try to just do self-examination just of myself. Like, what do I need to change about me? Not just my health, but what do I need to change about myself, right? And that's, like I said, with this book that came about, and it's just, I had to ask myself, who am I? You know,
Mm,
not the titles,
right,
but like, who am I? You know, I had to own who I was.
right.
And then in the book, I call myself judgmental. I freely say that I can be judgmental.
Mm,
And so I try to do better with that, and
yeah,
just listen first instead of maybe judge upon first sight.
right.
Try to get as much information as I can, and then you know, on the quirky side. I can be quirky, I can be goofy, silly, you know, am I teachable? Like, do I know it all? You know, those kind of things. And as part of the subtitle where it says stop blaming others and take responsibility. I mean, the people that are out there that may be tuning in now or later, like, how many of you knew a child or had your own child who said, oh, the teacher doesn't like me because I play sports or whatever, and that's why I got an F in the class, right? It's like, no, did you study? Did you do the homework? Like, are
Yeah,
you going to school or are you ditching? Like, stop blaming the teacher for your
mhm,
lack of preparation, right?
right.
And so that's kind of what it was. That's kind of what it's like. It's just take the responsibility, just own it. You know, own that you were lazy and you did the homework. Or, I mean, I know there are some that have learning disabilities. That's different,
Right,
right? If you've got no challenges and you just choose not to do the work,
right,
then you can't blame other people because you didn't win that race, or you didn't get the scholarship, or you didn't get the job, or whatever. Did you prepare? And just say, you know what, I screwed up. Next time I'm gonna do better. That, you know, that's kind of where all of this comes from as well.
right,
Even with our health. I mean, of course, life happens. Things are different. You know, you're biologically different. All of our DNA is different. But
right.
if there's things we can do about it, we're gonna
Yeah.
do it. We
Oh yeah.
eating 10 hamburgers in one sitting. We can't blame
No,
the restaurant.
no, no. You
So
definitely can do that. Sure, sure. But I know, but then you really just be accountable.
hmm yeah,
Be accountable for wherever you are in life, or whatever that is for you.
right.
Just be accountable. And I
Yeah.
think that's definitely lacking in our society right now. It's accountability. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. When there are so many people that may be narcissistic, it's always somebody else's fault, you know. And that's, like you said, there's so much going on in the world now. But you know, there's still a lot of good out there as well. I don't want people to think that, you know, I'm not pointing fingers or anything. There's still a lot of good out there.
It
But even
is.
with the ones that are doing the good, we all still have to do self-examination. Like, why am I doing the good? Am I doing the good to be seen? am I doing the good because that's what's in my heart? You know. So
I like that.
are you doing good because you want it your way or the highway, or are you okay with not being in charge? You know.
Hmm. I'm thinking as you're talking. So I'm like, okay, which one is it now? I have to think about that. I think for me, it's a little bit of both, to be honest. I do. I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
What specific health screenings would you encourage women to prioritize?
Um, I would say, of course, with my health history, right, the self-breast exam, but it's always a physical. Get your annual physicals. Now, I don't know what everybody's makeup is as far as their medical coverage,
Right?
but if you are paying into it, you need to use it. Your eyesight, your ears, everything, like get it all checked out, because the worst way to find out something's wrong is when something goes wrong, because then
Right.
it could have been prevented, right?
Right.
But I do know there are different beliefs when it comes to Western medicine, and that's all good, you know. But for those who don't stick to those beliefs, you know, go to the doctor. That's what they're there for. Ask
Wow.
those questions. I always tell, especially when it comes to breast health and breast cancer itself, when you go to the doctor, take a notepad with you, write down the questions before you get there.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you're going to be too overwhelmed, take a friend, somebody you trust, and let them ask the questions, because you've only got 15 minutes at best, right?
Yeah.
And then when they're gone, all of a sudden you relax, and then all the questions that you wish you had asked come up.
Yeah.
And so when I'm talking to friends and family, or just someone I meet in a grocery store or whatever, and they're talking about it, I say, okay, this is what you need. Because even as like a caregiver, the caregiver can't become the patient. So
Yeah.
take care of yourself when you're taking care of others. But yes, most definitely, even the mental health, right? I mean, there's so many things that could cause any of us to derail, you know, left or right. But check your mental health, whatever that means, not with alcohol or drugs or other unhealthy ways to feel better. You
Right.
know, do the work, see a therapist or a psychologist or whatever it is that you need, or get that best friend that you know is going to tell you the truth, not tell you what you want to hear, you know, who's going to keep you accountable. And then if you trust him or her, then that's the person you can be talking to. But also, like I said, sometimes people do need to see a professional,
Right.
because I always tell people all I have is a driver's license. So I don't have a license to write anything for you or diagnose you with anything.
That's a good one. That's the only
I mean,
license I have.
but if you
Yeah.
trust that person, you know, I mean, I've been around a little bit for a little while, where I can see some things, and I
Right.
can say, hey, you know what, this sounds like XYZ, but I can't diagnose anybody with anything. And that's where
Right.
you need to just go ahead and, especially men, just go ahead and get that exam or talk to that
Right.
person to get, you know, to get that diagnosis. I know we don't like it, but it's
Yeah.
necessary. That's what I say. Self-reflection and self-examination is key to getting healthier and to getting better.
Wow. Well, I think too, it's not just us saying this.
Mhm.
Studies prove that men are the hardest ones to get exams and to get. I don't know why that is, but that tends to be. Nanette said too. I just went into recently, December 26th to present. I don't know what that was pertaining to, Nanette, but you can remind me.
Mhm.
'Cause I know we've been talking a lot. Then you said too, maybe this is what it
You
is.
made a correction.
This. Okay. Okay. Through December
Oh, she
26th.
said she just went through this in December. Okay.
Wow. I think you told me that, Nanette, to present. I think you did
Mm,
tell me that. She's going through that now. She's going through that. So
mm.
our prayers are with you. You know,
Yes,
we found
definitely.
out we only live 2 blocks away from each other.
Oh, wow.
That was such a shock. I was like, what? Literally, we can walk to where each other live. I couldn't believe it.
That's cool.
I know. Hi, Sheila. How are
Hi,
you?
Sheila.
Nice of you to come by, Sheila. I can tell you this, and let me tell all everyone here. This is the kind of show. This is not a feel good show. I'll say that because the things that we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, it's real life.
Mm-hmm.
It's real life. I'm just so thankful that Laura's here to share this with us, because I think some people give up. Is what I think. Whether I can't say they should, I don't know, but I do think that people do. They just they stop believing. And
Yeah.
I know at church on Sunday they have, they'll do a PowerPoint, and one of the PowerPoints that I'm always listening to or watch for is when it's a mustard seed on the end of their finger, and they said, "Look, it's get out of my way, I got my mustard seed." I
Cool.
look at that, I think I just love that, because with that saying, I have my faith. It
Yeah.
may just be that little bit of faith. For those of you who know how big a mustard seed is, it's real tiny.
Real tiny.
It's real tiny. But that's all the faith you need. That's it. Is that mustard seed of faith to believe that whatever your belief is, or belief is in. I'm just like I said, for all of us to do self-examinations. I go in this Friday for a mammogram. I have to go in every single year for the rest of my life because of my mom's diagnosis.
Yeah.
Um, do you emphasize the importance of self-examination for breasts?
Oh yes, most definitely. There's quite a few techniques, that women can use, but men also get breast cancer.
Really
And
do.
they can do some of the self breast exam where you raise the arm, and I won't demonstrate, but you raise the arm and you do
Right,
your self examination with the 3 fingers,
right,
in
right.
circular motion. And there's also you lay on your back and kind of do the same thing. And then you can also lean forward in the mirror. Women, you can lean forward in the mirror and see the distortion. Sometimes it just depends on what kind, because there's so many different types of breast cancer. But those are just 3 ways you can check. And if you're still not feeling confident about either of those ways, then the mammogram would be that, or an ultrasound. They can also do ultrasounds, because I know some women get afraid of the mammogram machine.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I know. I just spoke to a lady just yesterday, and she said there's a
Mm.
new mammogram coming out that where they don't press, the women's breasts in
Mhm.
between. Okay, where the and I don't know. I better not even talk about it because I don't know enough to talk about it. But it's a new way, ladies, that's coming out to diagnose breast cancer, and that's what. And but I don't know all the details, so I'd rather not talk about something I don't really know about.
Yeah.
And you know how rumors get started.
Right. Right.
They're gonna say, on her show, she said, no, no, no. Go to your doctor and go. Like as I said before, I'm going this Friday for
Mhm.
a mammogram, and I
Okay.
don't like it. I'll be honest. I don't like them pressing you and pushing you and
Yeah.
all that stuff. I never have, but at the same time, I've always gone in for my exam
Mhm.
and praying that they don't find anything, basically, because there's no way to know. There's
Right.
no way to know. Um,
Mhm.
I meant in the show about 3 weeks ago. I didn't have the show because I was in the hospital. I thought I was having a heart attack.
Mhm.
Thank God it wasn't a heart attack. But when you're feeling pain, you don't know what it is.
Right.
So,
Right.
but the only thing about breast cancer, you may not feel anything.
Right.
There's no pain associated that I know with it. And so, but if you don't do self exams or going for mammograms, there's no way to know.
Right.
It's just impossible. Um, of the 2 times being a breast cancer survivor twice, have they told you the odds? Like the second time, if you're outside of the 5 years now.
Oh yes. The second time was 2006, so I am going on 19 years
Wow.
now. I think it was last year, finally received my letter saying that I don't have to go every year. I don't have to have them every year, but I still do, because
Yeah.
you just
There's,
never know.
there's no way to
Yeah.
know
Right.
because I'm sure every time you go in, you're praying that it comes back negative. You
Right.
know that it
Right.
does come back negative. Do your children or your girls have to go in regularly because of your diagnosis or no?
I believe that's coming up for her eventually, but I wanted her to make her own decisions, when it was time. But my daughter's very well aware of my health challenges, so,
Okay.
and I've kept her in the loop on all of it. And so same thing with my sisters and my goddaughters. I just, I share, like, you got to know your body, no matter what, diagnosis or no diagnosis, history or no history. You just need to know your body. So, and she's on top of that.
Oh, that's good. Because like I said, I go in, I actually wrote a story about me and my mom's journey with
nice.
I did. I made it. It's not a play yet. It was like a short about how we went through it. And it sounds like even your daughters, because it's your own story about this. Because even as you were talking about it, I thought, wow, when you saying you were crying, how was your daughter reacting when you were crying and the doctor was talking? Even though she was
first time she was actually wiping my tears, because she was, like I said, she was 4. Yeah. So she was wiping my face the whole time. Yeah.
Because she was like, whatever he's saying is hurting my mommy. It's hurting.
Yeah.
And she probably, I know she didn't know what he was saying. So,
no.
She wanted you not to be crying.
That's exactly. Yeah. Because she was a happy kid. And so, I think I was a happy mom too. For the most part, I'm usually a happy person. Yeah. So for her to see me crying, it made her sad.
Wow. Does she remember that day?
I never asked her. I guess I could after this, but I hadn't asked her.
I'm curious if she remembers. I remember when we found out about my mom. Excuse me, it was a shock. And she did not want me to share it with anyone. She said, I don't want you to tell anybody. And I said, okay, Mom, I will hold this secret for you, but I will be sick. And she's like, okay, you can tell them. And I said, Mom, I know you think I'm saying this to be funny. I'm not saying, I'm saying it because it will make me sick to know that I'm holding this, knowing they would be upset that I knew this and didn't say anything. That's what I already knew. Right. And then she said, okay, just go on and tell everybody. But she never wanted anybody. She was so private to a fault, basically. She didn't want anyone to know. All those kind of things. But it was really things that don't matter. But she wanted her privacy. Yeah. That's what it was. She wanted her privacy. But anyway, what would you let me ask, as we're nearing the end of the show, and it's not over, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm learning and listening to what advice would you give anyone, any of our audience members, men and women, no matter whether they have survived it, never have been diagnosed with it, what advice would you give us?
Maybe to be more sensitive towards those who are going through a diagnosis or the treatment. Because oftentimes, I was saying, sometimes the caregiver becomes the patient because they're either not taking care of themselves, or depending on the relationship with the spouse or the partner or significant other or the person who's with you, they may feel like, well, what about me? And so you gotta have empathy for those who are diagnosed. Everybody's diagnosis is different. Excuse me. No one's journey is the same. So what may have worked for one person diagnosed with breast cancer, it may not work for the next person. Right. A stage 3, and this is not necessarily the same stage 3 and that. And so, and just again, educate yourselves. Do the research. I won't give a particular website to use because I don't want to give them free advertisement. But stay off the computer so much to where the computer's giving you what to do versus talking to professionals. And then any diagnosis, rally around them. They need the support. Trust me. They may say they don't, but trust me, they do. Sometimes you can't underestimate the ministry of silence or the ministry of presence. And when even if you're just sitting with them and just letting them tell their story multiple times, or let them cry, or let them be mad. Some people may clean up. Some people may do a bunch of different work because that's how they're processing. Just be there. You just can't underestimate your presence because people genuinely know you care. But also don't ghost them when they're going through. Because some people don't know how to take a diagnosis because they don't they feel like you're fragile. So I'll just stay away because I don't know how to handle my own emotions on their behalf to help them feel strong, right? And kind of again going back to this book, self examination, like look within and wonder why you can't offer that support to somebody, or look at the type of relationship it is. Is the relationship a good relationship? Is it
Mm,
beneficial? Are you there to say I was there versus are you there to help?
wow.
Sometimes people just want to be in the know. They may not necessarily know what to do, but
Yeah.
they just want to be in the know and say, "Oh yeah, I was there for her last week, whatever." But did you do anything to help, or was that just for you to get your own brownie points?
Right.
So it's just yeah. So just being accountable, even help them be accountable, because there are some people who may go through any diagnosis,
Uh-huh.
and like you saying with your mom, she was probably tired, right? But then there are others who they're supposed to take a pill every day. Help them be accountable. They say they want to be here, but they get tired of taking the pills. I know when I was doing mine, I got tired of taking tamoxifen. I took it twice a day for 5 years, and I got tired of it.
Mhm.
But I had friends and family that would say, "Hey, you took your meds today. Hey, don't forget." But that's keep them accountable.
You
Because you do, like you said, you do want them around for a long time.
do. You do. And I
But
tell you, yeah, some people you're what you're really doing is helping them fight.
right, right.
You're helping people fight. I have a cousin, she was on life support, and
Mhm.
40 of us on Zoom on an iPad, and we were literally yelling and screaming. And the nurse was in the room putting it to her ear so she could hear us. And
Mhm.
she literally, we kept her alive for about 5 years. Not like that, but she came out
Yeah,
of it. But she
yeah.
told
Wow.
us she could hear us. We were crying, we were praying because they told us she's leaving. If you guys
Mm.
can't bring her back, she's gone. And we did. We were like, we don't want you to go. And then we have another because they said, stay away from the light. I mean, it got like that, but
Carol Ann.
it was, and I look back, but it was funny, but we were just
Mhm.
begging her not to go.
Yeah.
Stay 5 more years. She did pass away
Wow.
5 years, yeah. But I tell you, but she told me, she said, I can hear all you guys' voices, everything. And she
Wow.
said that is what brought her back because we
Mm.
were fighting for her. That's what it was. Just diagnosed with stage 0 to stage 1 breast cancer. The one thing that helped me was doing my annual mammogram. That's why it was caught so early. That's
Yes.
a blessing, Annette. That's a blessing. Everybody doesn't get a diagnosis like that. They really.
Right.
And then, is this you, Richard? Richard said, use your health benefits. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. And I tell you, like I said, I'll be going Thursday. They
Yeah.
send me a thing in the mail. You have an appointment, come in, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Oh, here you go. I'm sorry. I missed that one, Richard. Richard says, I'm here. I like when Laura said your health benefits that you were paying for. I got my doctor's office. He said, I got in the doctor's office at least 5 times a month to get my blood pressure.
Richard,
You can
get
get a
off of there.
Pop, Richard.
He's so
That's,
funny.
I know, I know. Well,
But
I
he
want
has a point, though. You're paying for it, so you should go, but you don't have to go 5 times a month. But yeah.
I tell you, no, we have a blood pressure cuff at home. I have to check.
Mm,
I have to check my blood pressure. I don't have a choice.
mm,
And make sure it stays within normal ranges. When I thought I was having a heart attack, when we went to the hospital, my blood pressure was elevated. So they
mm.
knew something has happened, but thank God that wasn't it. So, but
Yeah.
that something happened. But I like to first, before we go, tell you, Lord, thank you for being a guest on the show today. You have encouraged me. You really have. I mean, I'm gonna and put your book up one more time so our audience can see it, please.
I don't know if they can see it with the light.
There we go. Lord, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the title of the book. You can never have too much sex.
But real funny. Before you go, every time I mention this book to a married couple, the man would say, "No, you can't, baby. You hear that?" She's like, "Yes, you can." It's like because the title is what throw them off. So
I know. Well, I love the title and the book, and I just want to tell you, Please come back again. We would love to have you. I think our executive producer just got his comment in. And Oliver says, hi, Laura. Thank you for joining the show and giving your experience on today's topic. And thanks to the repeat and new audience. That's
Thank
our
you, Mr.
executive
Oliver. I
producer.
appreciate y'all.
Yes. Please come back again. We appreciate
I will.
you. And Nanette, what did you say before we get out of here? Nanette says, oh, hi, Mary and Oliver. All right. All right. You take care and come back again.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody. See you next Monday.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.